What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me on today, you are in for a treat, okay? We use information from celestial bodies to help us gain a better understanding of our favorite celebrities, world events, but most importantly, our damn selves, okay? So with that in mind, if you like what you see today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to become a part of the Astro fam. Okay, so today I'm coming to y'all with another celebrity Synastry reading, this time on Sexyy Red and Bruno Mars. So I did get a couple of requests to do this Synastry reading because the two apparently have collaborated. So Sexyy Red and Bruno Mars dropped a record called Sexy and Wet. Something wet. Is it called wet? Whatever the song is called, okay? Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it in the comment section. I've seen people have mixed reviews. Me, myself, I could take it or leave it. It's not something that I would probably listen to on my own. But sonically, it's not a bad song. It's just, I don't know. But one thing that can be deduced from this whole situation is that this was definitely a big look for Sexyy Red in the sense of catapulting her career essentially into mainstream. So, I mean, Bruno Mars is the epitome of mainstream artist, I would say, right? Would y'all agree? Yeah? No? Let me know in the comment section. I would put him up there with the Taylor Swifts in terms of artists that, once again, when you think of mainstream, that everybody knows, or whatever the case may be. And so this is a big look for Sexyy. So today I'm going to be taking a look at the synastry between the two, even from a business standpoint, to see what the dynamics of their relationship is and what could have gone into creating what we are experiencing on the consumer side of things, right? Astrologically speaking, what factors into those things. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So on one hand, we have Bruno Mars, who's born on October 8th, 1985 at 3:56 p.m. in Honolulu, Hawaii, okay? And then Sexyy Red, who's born April 15th, 1998 in St. Louis, Missouri, but I don't have a birth time for her, okay? So, first things off top. The strongest aspect that these two share is actually a trine involving both of their moons, okay? So where you have Bruno Mars, who has his moon in the sixth house of Leo, and then Sexyy Red, and she has that Sagittarius moon. So you could look at this aspect as, first of all, with Bruno having his Leo moon in the sixth house, is him having a need for fun and enjoyment, especially within the workplace. This could deal with him having the personality of a big kid. The moon deals with our personality types, okay? Where he could be very committed to his work, but he has to be passionate about what he does. And once again, just tying back into that Leo, that essence of Leo, fun, right? Recreation. What is just kind of like, I want to do what it is that I want to do. And the more fun that it is, the more enjoyable that it is, the more passionate I am about it, usually the better the outcome, right? The more in tune these people feel with their creativity and their, capacity to, produce things. So with his moon forming a trine to Sexy's Sag moon, that could deal with where her international or crossover appeal, which would be reflected with that Sagittarius moon, right? Which I would argue, when you consider that the sixth house, where Bruno's moon is placed, I could see a scenario where maybe his team considered her for that particular reason, for the reason that she could have, a certain level of international appeal. This is why you see Sexyy Red doing random shit with like different people within like certain, like just different sectors and cultures. Like, for example, she had like she did a WWE, feature, and she'll record herself singing rock songs and, hanging out with frat boys. And, at some point people thought she endorsed Trump, and that's a very Sag moon because, Sagittarius is all about wanting to kind of adapt to and explore other experiences. You know what I'm saying? It's all about what's foreign, what's exotic, what's different from you. And it fascinates these people. They're a lot of times very well traveled, very, well cultured. They know, so they always kind of know somebody that knows somebody. Very vibrant personalities, and a lot of people can gravitate towards them. And not to mention they're funny, great sense of humor, over the top, sometimes a little too over the top and obnoxious. But this trine that her Sag moon has with Bruno Mars's moon in Leo, definitely you can kind of see that it can play itself up in like just like the chemistry of it all. You can kind of see. I don't know if you guys have watched the video or have you seen any of the promotional material, which by the way, Leo is the sign of like marketing and things like that. So Bruno having his Leo moon in that sixth house trying in Sexyy Red's moon could definitely deal with where, him working with her, this collaboration could absolutely be something that could benefit him, right? Through or her likeness, and her assistance with the marketing for this project could definitely help him. I would argue help him just as much as it's helping her, actually. Where that could be like something that they both got going for themselves. You know what I'm saying? This is a great working relationship aspect, where he could have took a chance or took a risk and it paid off this time. The moon in Leo taking risks. Leo does rule gambling, which, by the way, I heard this nigga owe like $1 kajillion worth of gambling debt. Shout out to his Leo moon square in Pluto. Then he has that Scorpio South Node that, that could deal with debt, him being in a lot of debt. Or he, I don't know if he had like a compulsive gambling issue or, and that's, which brings me to my next point. A lot of people were really taken aback, I've noticed, like, in terms of the subject matter of the song that Bruno and Sexyy have, right? And they're like, oh my God, I cringe because, it was so hard for me to see Bruno in that light. And he was speaking so vulgarly and he was saying things, blah, 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 blah. But looking at his natal chart, Bruno Mars is a freaky frog. Like, I would be willing to put my money on it. You know what I'm saying? I would be willing to bet the house on it. With that Scorpio South Node, Scorpio rules sex, it rules. But when we talk about like the South Node, because 9 times out of 10, the South Node could deal with, the more unhealthy attachments we have, right? That's usually how that tends to play out. So the unfortunate byproduct of displacement I've seen a lot of times can be, battles and issues with one's sexuality, or there's, even issues with like their lower selves fighting and for everybody that's going to show up a little differently. You know what I'm saying? So if you have Scorpio on the South Node, I'm not saying that, it's a copy and paste situation, right? But for everybody, it's different. But the energy signature of having to overcome something as it pertains to your lower self. And I'm not going to lie, especially men in the industry. And I mean, just a lot of people with this placement that he has Saturn, and Scorpio too. I think it's forming that conjunction to his could be sex, but it could be once again gambling. So he has a chart, y'all, and this is 1000% speculation. I am not asserting anything that's factual. That I have no tangible proof that I know of, and this is just strictly what I get just looking at his chart overall. Bruno Mars has one of those natal charts that I would not be surprised if he was kind of swept up in some of like the messiness of like what's going on in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to read in between the lines? I have nothing to back this up 1000%. That's a different video for a different day. But anyway, I digress. So also, he's no cookie clean cut kind of dude at all. I could totally see him like sex being his kryptonite. And so him wanting fat, juicy, and wet, that's very Scorpio South Node. He might be into a little piss play. By the way, this is, the same lunar nodal placement as R. Kelly, Trey Songz. Y'all do the math. I'm just the messenger. Do the math, draw your own conclusions. But to be fair, with that Taurus North Node, it's absolutely indicative of his musicality in this lifetime, and it speaks to where a lot of his energy needs to be focused on, doing things and making money and living his life in a way that is very much above the board, and in a way where he's able to conform with the rest of society and do the right thing. Do the right thing in this lifetime. So yeah, there's that. But I completely see how he could be a part of a project called Fat, Juicy, and Wet. Now, moving on to where Sexyy Red has her Pluto at the 7th degree of Sagittarius trining Bruno's moon. Okay, this could deal with, once again, Sexy's likeness, image. That kind of creative contribution can also help Bruno, as well, where he can benefit from that. They have a lot of good working aspects. Like, that's one of the first things that popped out to me. Bruno has his 10th house, Neptune and Capricorn trining Sexy's Mars and Taurus. Okay. This could deal with them shooting the music video. And maybe where it could have been his dream to work with her. I could see that being the situation. That wouldn't surprise me. They could also deal with like the highly produced element of the video. Like, I don't know if y'all have seen it, but it's the cleanest and most put together Sexyy Red has ever looked. No tea, no shade. Okay. And I love Sexyy Red, but whatever, but she looked really, really good. Like, this was all very calculated. This is an intentional push, to get her mainstream. And like I said, to also help Bruno as well. That's something else that popped out in their Synastry, that he's absolutely going to benefit from this. And to what extent? Well, that's also something I may have a prediction on, but pause on that note. Okay. This aspect could also deal with them having like just great musicality when we talk about that Neptune trining Sexy's Mars. Okay. Like I said, music sonically, the songs sound good, or where it could have been very well. What's the word? Produced with that Mars and Taurus, like very well produced or very well like engineering. And I'm wondering if they rely more so on Sexy's team, with this being her Mars, like her engineers, her I don't know this for sure, but just based on the astrology of it, I want that could be the case. So if anybody knows that for sure, feel free to let me know. Now, something that concerned me was that Bruno has his Chiron in the 4th house of Gemini, squaring Sexy's Jupiter at Pisces, which could produce issues with publishing or there being like a hidden clause. And taking it back to what I said, that a major theme that I see within their Synastry is that he's absolutely going to be benefiting, but once again, to like what extent? And I'm not saying that anything or fallout could come between the two or nothing like that. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying that is if it happens, I would not be surprised. You know what I'm saying? Or like if a situation popped off where it's like for example, Bruno has his Pluto opposing Sexy's Mars, and her Mars is in his second house of Taurus. That could deal with like where he is maybe exploiting her, like this musical project, or he's relying very heavy on this for like money, which once again would make sense if the nigga trying to pay some shit back. You know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to pay, he's clearly in debt. You know, they say he had a gambling debt or something like that, that he has to pay off. I don't know the full details of that, so y'all feel free to let me know. But so yeah, there's that aspect could be indicative of that, and it just makes me wonder, like, if something could happen. You know, you also have Bruno's 8th house, Libra and Mercury opposing Sexy Red's Saturn. Okay. And it's like that could deal with where she don't really get along with his like legal team. This could also be reflected in his Mercury opposing her Mars. Like where they could be pointing the finger. There could be some type of legal dispute where she just shut it down completely. Her refusal to work with him or talk to his team. And maybe these are things, too, to put it into context, that could happen behind the scenes. Because, you know, it's a lot of things that in the industry that go down that never make the light of day in terms of, like, you know, the public, to the general public. You feel me? And then people catch on later on, or maybe they don't. So, you know, it's one of those things. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not saying that they are going to fall out, but it just kind of... It kind of feels kind of exploitive, like I said, on his part a bit, but this is the music industry, right? Sexy Red does have that lunar nodal placement that can grant you a lot of help and a lot of assistance, and that's that Pisces South Node, right? So with Pisces on the South Node, you know, they can find themselves in positions where they are given lots of help. But once again, not to sleep on Sexy, I do feel like she contributed a lot to their dynamic as well in terms of what was popular. It's a two-way street, which is another manifestation of Sexy's Pluto at the 7th degree of Sagittarius, forming a conjunction with Bruno's forming a trine with Bruno's moon. That could deal with them doing like a collaboration, something like that, like a very fun, even sexual, flirty collaboration, creative collaboration, you know, all that good stuff. Something else I thought was really interesting with his moon in the 6th house of Leo, right? Him deciding to, and the trine that is forming the Sexy's, you know, her moon. If you look at the picture to one of the promotional materials they did, he had like a cat with him. And, you know, cats are pets. You know, pets rule. They rule the 6th house. And that Leo moon in the 6th house could definitely be indicative of like a home where someone could have like a cat present, like a feline present. So I thought that was so interesting, like how that could manifest in the most literal physical way. So with all that being said, I think y'all kind of get the point here. Like, you know, Sexy Red is a Aries. Y'all know Aries women are rough, raunchy, in your face, sexy. And then you have Bruno Mars, who's a Libra. Libra men are a lot more refined, and you know, I think that's another reason they come off as like the lover boys, and people never really, I guess, understood that when you really get into this nigga music, he's a freakity Scorpio South Node conjoined to Saturn. Really got some. It may come from a place of like, you know, issues, like where he could really have some deeply rooted issues surrounding and hangups surrounding that part of his life, potentially, maybe, you know. So he's no stranger to that. He's no cookie cutter type of dude. So I can definitely see why, you know, the nature of this song and project could take such a sexual turn like that and even be, what it is. So, yep, drop down in the comment section and let me know what y'all think about the Synastry, what y'all thought about the project. Does it, make sense to y'all? Do y'all like it? Are y'all gonna listen to it? And yeah, I will catch y'all in the next video. Bye.